Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the elect, sincere Akim, the elect of Israel out there that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Alright, this lesson is going to be about, or it's going to be called Stop Reminiscing. Alright, because, you know, it can cast you out of the truth, you know, if you're constantly let me get the definition of reminisce. All right, it's a verb and it means indulge in enjoyable recollections of past events. All right, and there's certain past events, you know, when you're in the world that you shouldn't be indulging in that memory. All right, you shouldn't think that is a better time then. Alright, and I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 7:7. It says, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." Alright? Because oppression makes a wise man mad, because when you're in the world, you're ignorant to the fact that you're oppressed. You thought that, you know, you were free, that you had your whole life ahead of you, and that you could do anything. But once you came into the truth, you find out that there's no hope on this side, you know. We'll get everything we want in the kingdom, but for now, it's long suffering. Alright, you realize that you're in slavery and that you know, you're not free. I'm going to jump down to verse 10. It says, "Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this." Alright? Because, you know, when you're in the world, man, those were times when you weren't in the truth. You know, you're ignorant, you're blind. You know, those times weren't better, all right? Because what does Paul say? He said, "I know what it's like to be rich, and I know what it's like to be poor, but I count it all waste, not knowing Yahushai." You know. Because he had some experience. He knew what it was like to be the head guy in the Sadducees. I think that's what he was in. But you know, he ruled over some people. But he counted all for naught because he wasn't in the truth then. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna grab 1 Corinthians. Chapter 10, and let's see, I'm going to read verse 5. It says, "But with many of them the Most High was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness." Alright, it says, "Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted." Alright, I'm going to jump down to verse 10. It says, "Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer." Alright, this is talking about the account in when the Israelites were led out of Egypt. Alright, the Exodus. Alright, because you had, matter of fact, I'm going to grab that in Numbers. I'll just read the account and break it down like that. This is Numbers 11. Alright, I'll start at 4. Numbers 11:4. "And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers, the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes." Alright, so they were reminiscing on the times when they ate good, you know, when their bellies were filled off of fish and different spices and fruits and vegetables, and they're complaining that they had to eat manna from heaven. You know, just a bunch of spoiled Israelites, man. That don't appreciate long suffering. They don't appreciate. They don't see the glory of waiting and going through the trial. They don't see that. They're very in the moment and wish for better times. They're never satisfied. Because they don't remember all the hell that they're catching in Egypt. Matter of fact, or what the Lord did for them to get out of Egypt. You know, this is Exodus 5 and 7. I'll start at 6. It says, "And Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves." So he basically told the overseers, don't give them any more straw. Let them do more work. So they had to make brick without any straw. So they had to go and find straw and make it even more. Alright? And then it says, "And the tale of the bricks which they did make heretofore, you shall lay upon them. You shall not diminish aught thereof." But yeah, man, basically they're catching a lot of hell in Egypt. Alright? And they didn't want to remember that time, because they're blinded by the gifts that were given to them. They thought that they had it good in Egypt, just because they got, they little fish. They couldn't see past that, man. So this is why you shouldn't reminisce on the times when you have it good in this lifetime. You got to remember that you were oppressed in high school, that you were taught bullshit in high school. Don't reminisce on how you could have gone all pro, signed with a nice college, get fed more lies in college, and it's just vanity, man. All of that's vain. All the awards that you won, all the test grades that you had, all your grades, hey, they're gonna be over with, alright? Let's see, cause I'm guilty of it. It's natural. It's like your flesh's way, to cope with those things, to reminisce. But you gotta reminisce on certain things, alright? Matter of fact, this is Psalms 143. Psalms 143 and 3. It says, "For the enemy hath persecuted my soul. He hath smitten my life down to the ground. He hath made me to dwell in darkness, as those that have been long dead." Alright, so this is I'm not sure. Yeah, this is David talking. And he's smitten down. He's catching hell. He's cast in darkness. Alright. It says, "Therefore is my spirit overwhelmed within me. My heart within me is desolate. I remember the days of old." Alright, so this is him reminiscing. Alright. But here's the thing. It says, "I remember the days of old. I meditate on all thy works. I muse on the work of thy hands." So don't reminisce on your own works. Reminisce on the Most High's works. Look about how he delivered the righteous out of evil, man. reminisce on how the Israelites were delivered, because those wicked Israelites that wanted fish, they didn't recall those things. They didn't recall all the plagues that hit Egypt, the plague of darkness, uh, uh, the frogs, the hail, the locusts. You know, they didn't remember those. They remember how even when Daniel was cast into the lion's den. You know, I mean, those are great stories that you should meditate on. Reminisce on those things. Reminisce on your own testimonies. How the Most High delivered you out of certain situations. You know, when you're catching hell. Don't reminisce on how better it was when you were in the world and blind to the truth, man. Because you'll be cast back into the world. Alright? But with that, I hope this video was edifying. Until next time, Shalom.